G'day, it's Coach Pete from Ascension. On this Whiteboard Wednesday, we're going to look at technique. With training, we should look at having the best technique we can. Now, this really comes back to adaptations we have. Sometimes people be fixated on the adaptations that occur in their muscular system, so that's increasing their muscular volume, improving the amount of force, speed or power their muscles can produce. Other things people will consider is their skeletal system, things like their bone density, for example. Sometimes people get fixated on energy systems, so how efficient you are aerobically or anaerobically, how much ATP can you produce for maximum power output, maximum speed output, maximum force output, what's your oxygen transfer, what's your VO2 max. And behind all these aspects of training, there is a larger, more important one, and that is our nervous system. It controls everything you do. It controls all movements. It is linked to your endocrine system for the release of hormones. It tells your muscles when to move. It tells what parts of your body to do what. So if we don't focus or look at improving our nervous system in terms of developing technique, we're going to limit our overall capacity. Nervous system adaptations are really important for this reason. Now, if we look at a beginner who just starts out, especially with strength training, most of the initial adaptations they'll have in the gym just from doing bench press 3 times a week will actually not be muscular adaptations, but their nervous system adaptations. That is, their nervous system is more efficient at telling which muscle fibers to fire and in what order. This leads to an improvement in the amount of force they can produce due to the coordination and synchronization of their muscles by their nervous system. A study in the past looked at unilateral training, but only training one side of the body. Surprisingly, what the study showed was just by doing a lift such as bicep curls on your right side of the body for a period of time, you'll actually be stronger in your left side of your body as well. And this was a really important development, as it illustrated the nervous system was actually behind the initial adaptations you get from training, that is being more efficient. And you'll see guys and girls that go to the gym for maybe 6 to 8 weeks, get stronger, but look almost the same. They haven't put on any extra muscle mass, they look the same, but they're somehow significantly stronger than what they were. This comes back to nervous system adaptations. An important component with nervous system adaptations is finding the most efficient technique you can for whatever you're doing. And that's not just with strength work or gym work, that also applies to things like running. When it comes to training, we should actually prioritize technique, especially at the start. And we want to lay a really strong foundation for how you move and how efficiently you move. Those beginner gains really are an increase in neuromuscular efficiency. That is your nervous system telling which muscles and which muscle fibers to fire and in what sequence. Doing this time and time and time again leads to a more efficient motor pattern. So why bother with trying to train or improve your technique? Well, the simplest reason is efficiency. If you can do a lift or run or swim or row or anything else more efficiently, that allows you to do more work in training because you're expending less energy. That means you can get more training volume in or train at a higher intensity in the long run. This in turn can lead to 2 things: having larger adaptations with training and also having a higher level of performance when you test or when you compete. Linked to efficiency is safety. Being able to do a lift the most efficient way generally is also the most safe way. This will minimize our chance of injury in training, preventing or reducing the potential for a setback. With an increased level of efficiency and safety, what we'll actually see over the long term is an increase in our total physical potential. If we have inefficient technique, it will be the limiting factor in putting more weight on the bar or running a 5K faster. The most efficient and the most safest technique allows us to get closer and closer to our full physical or genetic potential. We can train at a high level, we can compete, or we can perform at a high level. A good program will focus on getting technique as a fundamental concept down pat first. And only once a good level of technique has been obtained will a larger amount of intensity or load be added. It's really hard to obtain absolutely perfect technique, and the only way you're going to improve your technique and your nervous system efficiency is through practice. Forget the idea that practice makes perfect. Perfect practice makes perfect. Over time, this will lead to a more consistent motor pattern. Then we look at training versus competition and the differences in technique between the two. Now with training, we're generally going to spend most of our time training at a sub-maximal level. That is not at 100% intensity. So we're not going to be hitting our 1RM all the time. We're not going to be running at race pace all the time. As intensity increases, our ability to maintain good technique decreases. It gets harder and harder to maintain high levels of technique under fatigue. So we must consider this. But in training, we still want to look at minimizing the amount of risk we expose ourselves to. We want to be the most efficient and the safest we can be to maintain training to get larger adaptations. So in competition, we're looking to actually maximize performance. And this might come with a slight reduction in our technique. It's not because we're deliberately trying to have bad technique or worse technique, but it's because we're trying to perform at the highest level we can. If we're willing to take risk, it might see a deviation in our form, or we might try and save a bad lift on a thing like a snatch or a clean and jerk in order to get the highest total we can. Now, that doesn't mean that nothing's going to go wrong. In fact, that could lead to an increased chance of injury, but it's something we need to factor in. We want to make sure that we take a calculated risk in competition in order to improve our performance, not be stupid and go for something that we know we have no chance of doing. The key takeaway from this Whiteboard Wednesday is the importance of technique, especially in training and especially at the beginning. We want to have the highest level of technique and we want to obtain the greatest amount of technique and efficiency that we can. Now this might limit the amount of load, it might limit the volume we can undertake in training at the beginning, but it will pay dividends in the long run because we'll be more efficient, will minimize the risk of injury and allows us to train at higher levels of intensity in the long run. As our training gets harder, we still want to maintain high levels of technique in order to maintain and continue our adaptations closer and closer to our maximum potential. The last takeaway when it comes to technique is we need to approach training and competition differently. In training, we want to minimize risk and we want to maximize the efficiency and safety of our training by having the most efficient technique as possible at all times. In competition, we're looking to maximize our result. So we might start taking calculated risks and we will see deviations in our technique. However, if we have a solid foundation of technique from our training, we'll find we're able to cope with the challenges at higher levels of intensity and performance.